Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
It is very interesting to note how the 7 basic swaras of our Indian classical music emerge and become 12 swarasthanas, and these 12 swarasthanas form the basis of the entire classical musical system. And in the Hindustani music, these 12 swarasthanas kind of become the Komal and Tivra swaras, whereas when you look at Carnatic music, it's a different kind of a nomenclature here, in the sense that we have 3 varieties for each of the notes: Ri, Ga, Dha and Ni. Now you must be wondering how, when there are only 2 swarasthanas, how can 3 notes be accommodated into it? So that is where the system is different and very unique also, I would say. Let us now look at it in a bit more of a detailed manner to see how there are these 16 swaras as part of the Carnatic music system. As I said earlier also, the Sa and the Pa are avikrita swaras, that is, they do not admit of any varieties. So, Sa, Pa, these two are constant. And as for the Madhyama, I am taking that because that has got again only 2 varieties, whether it is in the Hindustani or the Carnatic music. What we call as the Komal Ma and the Tivra Ma, here in Carnatic music we call it as Shuddha Madhyama and Prati Madhyama. But the placement or it's kind of where it is placed in the context of the Shadjat, in the whole gamut of the octave, is the same, like Sa Ma Pa Pa Ma. So whether it is Carnatic or Hindustani, the positioning of these 2 particular notes, that is the varieties of Madhyama as Shuddha Prati Madhyama as called in Carnatic music, or Komal and Tivra as called in Hindustani music, is the same. Now coming to the Rishabha first, we will go one note by one note so that we understand clearly how it is placed or how it occurs in the Carnatic music system. The Ri of Carnatic music has got 3 varieties, that is, though the placement is 2, it admits of 3 varieties, that is Shuddha Rishabha, Chatushruti Rishabha and Shatshruti Rishabha. Now let us look at it and see how each one sounds, because just theoretically naming something does not give us any understanding according to me. So whether as students of music or even as listeners, at least we should be able to understand the soundscape. You may not have learned music for very many years, but then the ear should be able to identify what is the positioning of the note, and that can be done through years of practice of listening. In fact, we also know of many rasikas of Carnatic or Hindustani music where they may not be able to technically tell you many things about the aspects of the system, but they may be able to kind of replicate many things because of constant hearing. So now here, let us look at the 3 varieties of Rishabha. Sa, first I'll tell you the number, then I'll tell you the name, and then we'll see how it is positioned within the scale. Sa, Re, that is Re 1. Sa, Re, that is Re 2. Sa, Re, that is Re 3 here. Now, coming back to the sound of these 3, Sa, Re, Sa, Re, Sa, Re. So the Re 1 and 2 you already heard when I sang the Hindustani mode of notes. So you're able to understand or relate it and say that 1 and 2. Now what is this Re 3 that we are talking about? The Re3 here is actually occupying the place of one of the Gandharas, like Sari Saga. So actually the Ga 2 here becomes the Re3. So the Re3 is actually occupying the position of this Ga 2 here. Sari Ga. Now, if you look at the Gandhara next, you see that they also have 3 varieties. That is 1, 2 and 3. Shuddha Gandhara, Sadharana Gandhara, Antara Gandhara. Now, the Sadharana Gandhara and Antara Gandhara are similar to the Hindustani music's Komal and Tibra. So, the Ga 1, what is its position? Where does it actually occupy its place? If you look at that, it occupies the place of the Chatushruti Rishabha, like Sari Saga Ga. That becomes Ga 1 or the Shuddha Gandhara. Ga becomes the Sadharana Gandhara. Ga becomes the Antara Gandhara. Then Ma Shuddha Madhyama, Ma Prati Madhyama, Pa. Now, all these notes and their sounds have got very minute difference. So, it requires a lot of intent listening and also practicing and learning for us to be able to understand what is the exact position of each of these notes. Coming back again to the Sa to Pa, let us see this particular range first before going into the Dha and Ni. Sa Re Sa Re Sa Re. Shuddha Rishabha, Chatushruti Rishabha and Shatshruti Rishabha. Now the Gandhara. Sa Ga Sa Ga Sa Ga. Shuddha Gandhara, Sadharana Gandhara, Antara Gandhara. Then Sa Ma Shuddha Madhyama, Sa Ma Prati Madhyama, Sa Pa. So the first half of the Purvanga portion is over. So where we saw Sa, Re 1, Re 2, Re 3, Ga 1, Ga 2, Ga 3, Ma 1, Ma 2, Pa. So we already have 10 notes now. Now coming to the Dha and Ni, which again have got 3 varieties. So these 10 plus 3 varieties of Daivata plus 3 varieties of the Nishada make it 16 swaras actually. Now coming to the Daivata. We will do it from the Panchama because it's easier to understand. That is, I want to show you the distance of each of the Daivata from the Panchama for you to understand what is Da 1, Da 2 and Da 3. Pa, Pa, Dha, Pa, Dha, Pa, Dha. Let us again look at it a bit more detailed. So, Pa, Dha, Dha 1, Pa, Dha, Dha 2, Pa, Dha, Dha 3. So, Pa, Dha, Pa, Dha. The first Dha is known as Shuddha Daivata, then Chatushruti Daivata, Shatshruti Daivata. So, here when I said the names, you would have also noted that this name shares a commonality. See, again, for us to easily remember the names, we have to form some connectivity. When I teach my students also, I say that if they are not able to identify a particular note, when you are initially learning and I say Shuddha Rishabha, Antara Gandhara, Prati Madhyama, it may not be easy for any student to immediately identify the note and kind of sing it correctly. So how do we find it out is basically a very easy way of associating them with the particular raga that you know. So for example, if I've taught you Maya Malagala and I say that in Maya Malagala it is Re 1. So sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, you're singing. So sa re. So when I say Maya Malagala takes Re 1, immediately suppose you are not able to identify what is Re 1, you can sing Maya Malagala and see sa re, and then you understand that Re, that is Re 1. Okay. So like that. Or if I say that the Da 1 is nothing but the Da taken by Maya Malagala. So now when you're learning initially, actually when we teach the students also, we do not go into the theoretical aspects and say that now what you're singing is Re 1, now what you're singing is Re 3 or Ga 1 or Ga 2 and like that. First it's all about the soundscape. Music itself is an oral medium, that is something which we learn through the years. It is not a visual kind of an art like painting, or sometimes when you are teaching somebody tailoring or something like that, you tell them that stitching tops or a blouse, you tell them that 3 inches you have to leave, 2 inches you have to fold, like that. So that kind of a concept of concretely explaining things is not possible in music, because it is a medium which is got through the oral medium or the sound. So here it is more through intuition, through experience, through listening, through understanding the soundscape that we are able to understand all the swarasthanas. So now again and again repeated practice is which helps us to understand all these swarasthanas. Now coming back to the Dhaivata which we are talking about. Pada pada pada. So again here the Da 1 and Da 2 follows the principle of the Shuddha and Komala of the Hindustani music. So where does this Da 3 come in? It is the same principle as the Re 3. So actually the Da 3 occupies the position of Ni 2, like Pa Dha Pa Ni. So that is the placement. So the Ni 2 actually becomes the Da 3 here. And then we also come to the next or the final note, the Nishada. So where the Nishada also occupies 3 positions here. The first Ni takes the place of the Chatushruti Dhaivata. So Pada, that same position, Pani, then Pani, Pani, Sa. So you saw that how Sa, 3 varieties of Vrishabha, 3 varieties of Gandhara, 2 varieties of Madhyama, the Panchama, 3 varieties of Dhaivata, 3 varieties of Nishada completely form the 16 swaras of Carnatic music. So thus here also in terms of defining the entire raga nomenclature as melas or thats, we see that based on this 2-note nomenclature, we have 10 thats in the Hindustani system, whereas in the Carnatic music system, through permutation and combination of the 16 swaras, we have what we call as the 72 Melakarta ragas. Now, this is a very important milestone in terms of defining Carnatic music itself, where you see that what is very, very different is from what I spoke in the earlier episode also about Carnatic music being different from Hindustani music, in the sense that in Hindustani music we use 2 varieties of the same note, like in Brindavani I showed you, or in Behag, pa ma ma, like this kind of concept. We see that it's very much prevalent in the Hindustani music, whereas instead of sounding them as 2 varieties of the same note, we use the nomenclature of 3 varieties of each note. So for example, if we take a ragam like Nate, where we see that the Re 3 occurs. So the Re 3 comes in combination with the Ga 3, like Sa, Sa Re, Ga, Ma Ga, Pa Ma Ga, Ma Re, Sa Re, Ga. Or if you take a ragam like the first Melakarta, which we'll be discussing in detail about the Melakarta later. So first Melakarta takes all the first variety of each note, like Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa, sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa. Now, if you again compare or go to the Hindustani system, we could say that every ragam that way is a combination of the Shuddha and the Komal Swaras. Combination happen in Carnatic music also. Like for example, if you take the ragam like Maya Malagala, where sa ri ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. If I take this particular scale and want to define it in terms of Shuddha and the Komal and Shuddha of the Hindustani, sa ri Komal re ga Shuddha ga ma, again Komal Madhyama ma pa dha Komal dha ni Shuddha ni sa. Or if you take a ragam like Kiravani again, sa ri ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Ri, according to the Hindustani nomenclature, it's the Shuddha Rishabha, but according to the our Carnatic music, this Ri is Sari. Though we have the name Shuddha Rishabha, we don't call this Shuddha Rishabha. For us, this becomes the Sari Chatushruti Rishabha. So you have to remember that the same name does not denote the same note in both the system. That is very important for us to remember also. So what we call as the Sa Re is Komal Re in Hindustani. So that is known as the Shuddha Rishabha in our system. And the reverse like Sa Re becomes the Shuddha Rishabha in the Hindustani system, whereas we call it the Chatushruti Rishabha. Then Sa Re becomes the Shatshruti Rishabha. Like this, we see that the 7 notes give rise to 12 Swarasthanas, and the 12 Swarasthanas then give rise to these 16 Swaras. Now, in this context of these notes, we could say that the Sa is the Prime Minister, in the sense that the Sa governs the entire system of the music itself. If first you could say that the entire Saptaswaras, for that the Sa is the most important, and thus it could be called the Prime Minister. But even in the larger perspective of our music itself, we see that the Sa becomes a very, very important note in terms of understanding the other notes. I'll talk about it a bit in detail later. Then the 12 Swarasthanas that we are talking about, they could be said to be the ministers. And the 4 additional notes that we are talking about here, like the Shatshruti Rishabha, the Shuddha Gandhara, similarly the Shatshruti Dhaivata and the Shuddha Nishada, are probably like the ministers of states. Now, coming back to the Shadja, we have to understand that the Shadja is very, very important here in the system of both Carnatic and Hindustani music. But again, the Shadja, though for a particular musician, now for example, suppose now I am singing in the G scale, or what we call as 5. Anjikattai in Tamil we call like that. Or we could say that when somebody is asking, for example, this the Sa is very important in terms of also defining what is the Shruti in which a particular musician is singing. So for example, now if I am going to sing a concert, in Carnatic music, of course, in Hindustani music, for most of the time we see that the tabla in Hindustani music is the tabla player and the harmonium player are generally the constant. But in Carnatic music, it's very interesting also to see how many a times, for example, now for me, I have about 7 or 8 violinists playing regularly for me a concert, or about 5 or 6 mridangists who are playing regularly for me. Now, sometimes what happens is that because the system is so refined, so sophisticated, that even without kind of practice, we are able to understand or relate to each other and create a perfect rapport, I would say, on stage. So for example, suppose I'm going to a place like Kerala, and due to some reasons they want to accommodate their own local artists there. So they would probably have a mridangam and violinist, a very good seasoned artist is there. So they would say probably that we have a good violinist and mridangist here. So why don't you come and perform by yourself without bringing your own accompaniment? So when we go there, what happens is that obviously the violinist and the mridangist will call me up beforehand and ask me what is my shruti, which means that what is the range in which I am singing. So based on that, they will tune their instruments also. The violinist will bring an instrument which is tuned to G, and the mridangist also will bring an instrument, the mridangam, tuned to G. Now, somebody else may have a shruti of, say, for example, in gents, generally we see C, C sharp, or D are the common shrutis in which they sing. For ladies, it is generally F sharp, G, G sharp. Now, some of the ladies may have a very shrill voice, so they may be singing in A, and in fact A is the maximum in which any Carnatic musician, a lady artist, sings, because we also have the concept of a sense of pleasantness. So A sharp and all sounds too shrill, so generally in A we sing. But what I want to emphasize here is that though in relation to the notes the sa is constant, we see that for each artist again the sa is different. For example, for me, the G I showed you here, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Now suppose some artist is singing in A, so immediately the G I will change to A, for example. So which means that the sa itself gets changed here to suit their pitch. So what was sa to me is no more the sa to them. So keeping A, now in A the sa is sa higher than what I was singing. So now the notes which come, the re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, all that are relatively based or connected with that particular sa. So say Mayama Alagala in the A scale, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. Now let me take a gent scale for you. Say C sharp. Sa. So in that sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Now for a gent, some may sing in D. Let me try in D. Sam sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So the sa you would have seen changed according to the each one's pitch, it changes. Now similarly also if you look at the instruments, certain instruments sound good in certain scales. So based on that we see that the Adhara Shajja changes from person to person, from performer to performer, from instrument to instrument. But once the sa is fixed, we see that all the notes form their relation with the sa only. Coming back to my own G, this is also very interesting for us to understand that why did I choose G? For a performer, a vocal performer, the basic minimum required is that they should be able to traverse a range of at least 2 octaves, that is half of the lower octave of the Mandrasthai, the middle octave and half of the Tarasthai. So for me, G becomes an ideal kind of a pitch where I am able to traverse like sa, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. This also answers the question of many students asking, ma'am, how do I know which pitch is ideal for me? how do I know which is the correct pitch in which I should be singing? Because sometimes due to faulty way of understanding things, we choose the wrong pitch and that may damage the voice also. Sometimes we also see by choosing the wrong pitch, suppose I am choosing A for me, then what will happen is that for me I may be able to traverse comfortably in the lower octave in A, but then when I go to the higher pitch I will be struggling a lot. Similarly, instead of 5, if I keep 4 as my pitch, what will happen is that I'll be able to traverse comfortably in the higher octaves, but then the lower octaves I'll be struggling. So this is the ideal pitch in the sense that how from the lower octave I'll start for you, like sa ni da pa. That till at least pa I should be able to comfortably reach here. So sa ni da pa pa da ni sa. Then the middle octave, sa ri ga ma pa da ni sa. Now the tarasthai or the higher octave, at least half I should be able to traverse. Now why I am saying this half plus 1 plus half is also about the fact that most of the compositions operate in this particular range only. So we have to definitely have a voice which is able to reach that. For example, now going back to the tarasthai or the upper octave. Sa ri ga ma pa pa ma ga re sa. So that was the higher octave, a half of it. Now some artists have got a God-given gift, or through practice, whatever it may be, they may be able to go higher than this into the tarasthai, or they may be able to go lower than this in the mandrasthai. For example, I could give you classical examples of great musicians like Dr. K.J. Yesudas or Dr. Balamurali Krishna. For them, effortlessly they will go and traverse the complete mandrasthai, complete tarasthai with absolute ease, I would say. So that all comes through a lot of practice and sadhana. But what is basically required for any musician for that matter is that traversing through the half of the mandrasthai from pa to sa, that is the uttaranga of the mandrasthai, and the complete gamut of the madhyasthai and the purvanga of the tarasthai. So completely now joining all of this together, let us see how it happens, like pa da ni sa re ga ma pa da ni sa re ga ma pa pa ma ga re sa ni da pa ma ga re sa ni dha pa pa da ni sa re ga ma pa da ni sa re ga ma pa pa ma ga re sa ni da pa ma ga re sa ni da pa. So even if you take a raga alapana for that matter, generally you would see that the artist, of course with exceptional cases, you would see like same Mayamadugala, if you're going to do it as an alap, pada pa ta da ri na na ra na a ra na ra no a ra na na ra So I reached the Tarasai Shadja now. I'm doing it as a very short form. Of course, Raga Alapana is a much more expansive way, where in a gradual way you keep exploring the Mandrasthai, the Madhyasthai and the Tarasthai. But what I want to show is like Sari ga ma ba ma ga re sa, sa ni da ba ba ga re sa, sari ga ma ba da ni sa ni da ba ba ga re sa ni da pa pa da ni sa re ga ma ba da ni sa, sari ga ma pa ba ba ga re sa ni da ba ba ga re sa. Now the same thing, if you want to give another example of how all the notes are in the Komal variety. In Carnatic music, if you want to see a parallel here. I would say that a ragam like Todi is the best example, not the Todi of Hindustani, but the Todi of Carnatic music, which goes like sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Of course, this is just the scale of Todi. Todi is a very, very grand raga incorporating all the gamakas. But I wanted to show is that first the Komal variety. Another extreme example of a ragam that in Carnatic music which adopts all the Shuddha varieties as is seen in Hindustani music is Kalyani here. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So like this we see that in our system of music all these swarasthanas and of course the shadja, and the pa, as I said, is very, very important next to shadja here. The pa is important because it bears a consonant relation sa pa. But of course there are also ragas where you may not have the pa. Like for example, if you take a ragam like Abogi, sa ri ga ma da sa da ma ga ri sa, or a ragam like Lalita, sa re ga ma da ni sa ni da ma ga re sa. Lalita, as we know, is a journey of Mayamadagala, and only difference in terms of the technical aspect is that it doesn't take a panchama. That is, if you remove panchama from Mayamadagala, it becomes Lalita. Or if you just take another Panchama Varjya ragam, just for example, sa ga ma da ni sa ni da ma ga sa Hindolam. So that way we see that though the Panchama is very important and occurs in many, many ragas, a raga can also exist without the Panchama, whereas the Shadja is very, very important. It is a fundamental, like in a building, when you are building an apartment, what happens is that the base is very, very important. Without the base, the whole building will collapse, and the whole building also makes sense only in terms of the base being strong. So that way the Shadja becomes a very, very important note in terms of creating a strong base for the entire Indian classical musical system. The Shadja is also important in terms of understanding the various notes, their relation and their positioning in the gamut of the octave itself. So that way we could say that the Sa is the basic note, then we have the 7 swaras, the 12 swarasthanas, and in the Carnatic music from this emerge what we call as the 16 swaras.